These are rappers who shot at Their Opps, and first up we have The Baby, and The Baby has quickly made it known that he's always going to defend himself because early in his career he was involved in a situation at Walmart where a man was shot and killed, and according to his testimony to the police, he was out shopping for clothes with his daughter and his baby mama when two men ran up on him, and one of the men flashed the gun and threatened him. Moments later, one of the robbers, Jalen Dominique Craig, was shot and killed after this. The Baby claimed self-defense, and the evidence proved that he was telling the truth since the murder charge was dropped, and the only thing they charged him with was carrying an unconcealed weapon, so he was sentenced to 1 year of unsupervised probation. And after the situation, The Baby made a video sending condolences to the family, even though he had to do something to one of his ops.
Free me, I'm free than a mother. And ain't no RIP me, my heart's still beating, and condolences goes out to the other parties involved. You see what I'm saying?
And earlier this year, the footage was released, and fans started questioning whether it was really self-defense, since it looked like The Baby was the aggressor in the situation. And not long after the clip went viral, he went on Instagram to clear the air. Lord,
you not to say nothing, I'll let two walk down on you and your whole family, threaten y'all, whip out on y'all. Let me see what y'all gonna do.
But that isn't the only time The Baby has shot at his ops, because there was another incident where he could have lost his life because after The Baby started getting buzzed in his city, quickly attracting the jealousy of enemies in his hood. And in an interview, he said that even though he and his crew were building a buzz with the music, their business wasn't right and they weren't moving too smart because he and his homies used to screen print their own t-shirts to wear the shows out of his apartment, and it was a smart idea, but this also put a target on him because one night The Baby claims he had walked to his door being kicked down and a crew of 6 storm robbers entered his apartment. So this forced The Baby to grab his gun, and once he entered the main living room where the robbers were, they were rummaging through his things looking for stuff to steal, and at that point he got into a 6 versus 1 shootout with the robbers. He shot the one closest to him, and the rest started firing back, so he escaped down the hallway and ran out through the garage without getting hit. That also scared the burglars off, and they fled before things got any worse. And in an interview with DJ Vlad, The Baby claims how he knew it was rookies that tried to rob.
The dope kick, when they see the TV move, and that's how I know it was Pee-wees, because first thing you touch is the TV. I'll buy one of y'all.
He also said on the night that the robbery went down, he posted a video on social media where he was hanging out with some people, and this made the robbers believe that he wasn't home. And there's another situation where The Baby shot at his ops. That was even crazier. But before we get into that, we have to talk about Pusha Kisti, because in October 2020, Shakshi was allegedly involved in a shootout in Miami, and the footage from the incident shows a lime green McLaren Maybach into a parking lot, and they parked the cars, and a group of men hopped out of the cars. At first, everything seemed to be cool, but suddenly they pulled out their guns and started shooting. And seconds later, the McLaren and Maybach played the scene after the shooting, and you can see one man stumbling, and it was rumored that Bukhaisti originally met with these guys to buy some drugs and shoes, but instead ended up shooting and robbing them. And not long after the situation, the feds linked a few Instagram pictures of him holding money and riding in the McLaren to the same incident. They also found a book bag with $30,000 left on the scene, and just days never later, on October 13th, Bukhaisti went ahead and turned himself in and was later released on a 30-0 bond. And not long after this, Bukhaisti dropped the song Back in Blood, which featured Lil Durk. And on the song, he also explains another time when he sent shots at his ops, because on the song he says, "All that woofing on the net, I thought she was a thug, they ain't got nowhere to go. I shot up everywhere they was, and with this bar, he was this." In one of his main ops, he jizzled because Bukhaisti and his homies allegedly hit a lick on Ejiz's crib and stole some guns, and also shot up every location he jizzled in his game would post up at. And in a genius interview, Shiesty spoke a little about the situation.
We ain't mad, Scott. We want you to see this face. In the red, we want all smoke. We ain't dark and no red. You know who it was did that to y'all.
But after this, Ijizza responded with his own remix of Back in Blood where he explained his side of the story, and the song later got taken down due to copyright issues. And Ijizza later explained in an interview that when she hit the lick, He wasn't even home, and Pooh had his label take down the remix, and the Jizzle continued dropping diss tracks directed towards Shiesty. But not long after, Jizzle got shot in the arm, so Shiesty and Big 30 used that to diss and make fun of him.
I bet can do this. Can do this.
And there's another incident where Push Shoxy sent shots too, because May 2021, Shakesy was performing at a nightclub. During the performance, a rumor was spreading that the rapper had been robbed, and someone recorded a video of Shakesy during the performance that showed him with bankrolls stepped in all of his pockets, and the stacks were way too big for his pockets. And moments later, a fan in the crowd could be heard saying they jack Push I still.
They hit him for his money. They done jack Push Ice. They jack Push Ice. They took his money.
Leaving the nightclub, wearing a ski mask with the gun in his hand, and just after he passed by the camera, a gunshot could be heard and everyone started panicking and rushing out. Rumors quickly started spreading on the internet saying that Pooh had been robbed and shot up the club in frustration. But Shiesty later posted on Instagram saying false allegations and nobody didn't take anything from him. And later on June 8th, Push Shoxy was arrested for the shooting and was forced to testify in court that he had been robbed, which caused him to pull a strap out in the first place. And a security guard was hit in the ankle during the situation, which is one of the reasons he's doing time in prison right now. Now let's move on to 6ix9ine, because back when he was beefing with Chief Keef, 6ix9ine paid one of his homies, known as Kuda B, $20,000 to shoot at Chief Keef while he was in New York City, and thankfully, Chief Keef didn't get hit.
Chicago rapper Chief Keef is doing fine tonight after being shot at in New York. The 22-year-old seen here in this file video was outside the W Hotel in Manhattan early this morning when a single bullet came at him.
But after the shooting, 6ix9ine went live on Instagram, tining Chief Keef and making fun of him since they shot at him.
You hungry? Fed you. Fed you. You was hungry and fed you.
A slice of pizza.
Pizza. Pizza.
And before the shooting took place, there was even a video of 6ix9ine putting the hit out on Chief Keef that surfaced on the internet.
I got a 30 pack right now, bro. 30 pack. Swear to God, I got a 30 pack, bro. What's up, family? What's up, family? What's going on, family?
And not long after all this chaos, 6ix9ine shooter got thrown behind bars after the shooting, since 6ix9ine ended up snitching on him. Also subscribe before we move on, and one of Lil Durk's artists, known as Little Mexico, also had to send some shots toward his ops because back on May 19th, a video of the shootout started going viral all over the internet because Little Mexico was chilling inside his home until some guys came up to his doorbell. That Mexico checked the doorbell, noticed that the dude was wearing a ski mask with some sunglasses trying to open his door, and once he saw the camera, he tried covering it up, and Mexico could hear and see what was happening. So Mexico ran to the door with his rifle, and once the guy heard Mexico, he tried hopping off the porch to run away, and seconds later, Little Mexico busted out the door and started firing at him. It also looks like the robber shot first, but Mexico didn't hesitate to fire back, and Mexico eventually ran off the porch and sent a few more at the robber than when the video started going viral. Mexico tweeted, letting everyone know he doesn't trust a soul, but Little Mexico isn't the only member affiliated with OTF that's had to send some shots at his ops, because back in 2019, King Von and Lil Durk were arrested in connection to a shooting in Atlanta. According to authorities, 2 men allegedly shot and robbed the man outside the Varsity, a popular spot in Atlanta. Police also claimed that the rapper stole an expensive chain from him and $30,000.
His chain was snatched off his neck, and he had $30,000 stolen from him, and they stole the vehicle he was driving.
Durk and Vine were charged with criminal intent to murder, among a few more charges. The judge ruled in 2019 that there was enough evidence to proceed with the trial, so Durk and Vine chose to fight the case. And while the case was still open, King Vine ended up passing away due to a shooting outside a club in Atlanta. And the victim, rumored to be the one who got shot, also known as Alexander Witherspoon, was arrested in 2021 on federal charges after stealing multiple identities and using them to fraudulently obtain money to purchase luxurious items. So, with them being behind bars, this slowed the case down. Then on October 2022, it was officially announced that the district attorneys dropped all the charges against Lil Durk, but they did say that King Vine would have been indicted for this incident if he was still alive today. And in July 2021, Lil Durk was also involved in another shooting because while he and his fiancée, India, were at the house, they received a rude awakening when a group of robbers ran into Durk's home and tried to rob him, but Durk and India grabbed their guns and fired back, and thankfully no one was hit, and Durk later confirmed this in the song he dropped titled "Pissed Me Off," where he says, "Ran inside my crib, but the Glock 10 was by my bed." And in another song, "Shootout at My Crib," he said, "I just had a shootout at my crib earlier this year. The baby was involved in yet another shooting because he posted a clip from Paid in Full confirming that he had just shot a guy that allegedly broke into his house because he captioned the post, 'Chose not to take a life,' the other day. And it felt great, and after the baby shot this guy, he called the police and calmly spoke to the operators, explaining the situation, and once the police showed up, they found the intruder lying on the ground facing 9 life-threatening injuries. But now let's move on to Blueface, because back in November, news broke that Blueface was arrested for attempted murder, because TMZ posted a video showing Blueface sitting outside on his phone by his girlfriend, and moments later, a bunch of undercover cops ran up and put him in handcuffs, and the internet quickly found out that Blueface had outstanding warrants for attempted murder with a deadly weapon. The incident happened back in October outside a club in Vegas, and according to witnesses, a dude walked into the club and had some problems with Blueface's game, and Blueface's crew allegedly attacked him, but sources say Blueface didn't jump into the fight. And after that, the dude left the club to go and get his truck, and Blueface and his crew went outside too, and the dude pulled up with his truck, asking who hit him, and seconds later, chat started going off. Then the day after it went down, the guy that allegedly got shot by Blueface hopped on Twitter saying how he got jumped and shot by Blueface. Blueface is currently out of jail on bond, but Louisiana rapper Lil Yoshi is currently serving 15 years behind bars for shooting because he even dropped a song named Straight Facts talking about the situation, since in the song he said same day he dropped the video I pulled up where he at in Miami, and with this bar Yoshi is referring to NBA YoungBoy, one of his biggest ops, because in May 2019, NBA YoungBoy was in Miami, and when he and his girlfriend were leaving the resort, a black truck pulled up on the side of them and let off shots. And to hear the rest of the story, click this video to see Louisiana rap lyrics that really happened.